Okay. This section covers the use of these four circles here, known as the Tanzus, in the game of Mikalon. I'm going to show you what their use is and how they're used and the proper procedures they're in for using it. The Tanzus are these four circles that are right here near kind of the officiating box, right here in the game of Mikalon. And there are two for each team. So when you're using them, just make note that they're not all for one team. In general, we kind of split the two Tanzus in half, and these two Tanzus are for the bench to the immediate right, and these two Tanzus are for the bench to their immediate left. So just so we're clear. The first thing that a Tanzu may be used for is bailing eliminated players back into the game, because once you're out of the game, yeah, you can be brought back to life. This is how it's done. Only one eliminated player may stand in each one of the two Tanzus in either one. And what happens is a player with a ball may come by and pass it to the appropriate player inside here. And then this player can come back onto the field of play. However, let's just make note. Depending on the position of the player, that'll determine whether or not what ball has to be used in order to get them back into play. And I'll give you an example of that. Say you're a Hylosian and you have this stick. The only way to get a Hylosian onto the field of play through bailing is to pass him a Pilo. And what happens is a player can come up here, pass the ball to the Hylosian, and they have to catch the ball. If it goes out of bounds, big problems. So if they pass the ball to him, then the minute that they come out, they can come out onto the field of play and they're back to life. If, say, you want to bring another Dalon style player onto the field of play, or a Skudon for that matter, because the Skudon can play both the Pilo and the Dala, you have to have a Dala available. And what will happen is a player with the Dala comes by, and they're coming by in this direction. They pass the ball off to a Dalon, and then he comes off in this direction and comes onto the field of play. So it's an interesting way to kind of produce some scoring opportunities in this light. There are a few rules as it applies to players being bailed back into a match and things that you can and cannot do. And number one is, if there's a player standing in one of the Tanzus and he's ready to get back into a match, you cannot throw a Pilo at a player who is not on the field of play. They're not in the game yet, so you have to wait until both feet are onto the field of play before you can eliminate them. So not just 1 foot, 2. And once you have the ball, you have to come onto the field of play. But just make note, the players on the opposing team that have a Pilo have to wait until that player is onto the field of play. And of course, once that player has a ball, you can't be throwing the ball from the Tanzu to avoid being hit. You have to get onto the field of play. There's a good chance you could be out again very quickly, so you have to be really careful in that regard. So that's how that works. The next thing that a Tanzu may be used for is substitution of players while the game is going on. And sometimes, say a player has broken equipment, sometimes you want to change your offensive or defensive posture during the game, and you want to get players of certain position, say, off the field, and get another one onto the field of play. Say you want to move a few Skudons off the field, you want to get a few more Dalons onto the field of play while play is going on. So you move the ball up, you're moving the ball up, all of a sudden say, let's get those Skudons off the field of play. I want to get a few more Dalons. We want to change our offensive posture. So this is the way that it works. Players that are going to be substituted back into a match stand in one of these Tanzus. And the player that is going out of the game runs into this circle. And once the player goes into the circle, this player runs out. In that way, changing the configuration of your team at will. And of course, the same rules apply for hitting players that are not in the game. Can't do it. So, use of the Tanzus. Game of Mikalon.